Who are the
Thank you.
poets who help you do what you do? I guess I'm asking about influence now. Are they always changing?
I think they are always changing, and that's good and bad maybe, because when you're taking in different influences and you're finding what you're doing itself is changing, you can see what you had done before kind of receding, and you don't want to let it go. So who I'm lately, I've been really heavily influenced by the mid-century American poets,
Wow.
Robert Lowell and those folks, and then poets who have taken their own work partly out of that work, like Geoffrey Hill and so on.
Yes.
But also, I've always been thinking about Jory Graham. I always think about Jory. And most recently, I've been thinking about Susan Howe a lot. And, those are poets, Howe and Graham especially, who have been with me for a really, really long time. And lately, I've been trying, I think, to figure out how exactly to make very lately, like I'm talking like the last couple of weeks, how to make their influence fit in with these mid-century poets and Hill that have been on my mind a lot for some years. And who helps me, music is really important to me. And I think that it has a pretty big influence on what I'm trying to do. Contemporary composers like Michael Hirsch and Steve Elcock, near contemporary composers like Gloria Coates and George Walker, both of whom died pretty recently. Walker especially, he's the first black classical composer to win a Pulitzer Prize, and it happened much later than one might think. I think it was the mid-90s that it happened. His work is wonderful, and it's still not as recognized as it should be. And his music is on my mind a lot, but maybe in the past week or so, I've been thinking about Gloria Coates a lot too. I would say that, those poets and the music I listen to have been the folks that have folks and things that have got me trying to work in whatever way it is that I'm trying to work now.
Beautiful, beautiful. There's a young poet out there, who feels as if they're living in a constrained world, the way we sometimes feel as teenagers, who feels deep in their heart that poetry's there, they want to be a poet, they just feel it deeply, and they feel as if they have no teachers, that they don't know how to navigate their way forward. What would be your advice to such a poet when they see this, as they will at some point?
I know that feeling, and I think it can feel like it's a bad thing. You can feel like there's nobody to guide me through whatever it is that I'm trying to do. But I could not be more grateful that in large measure I had to guide myself, at least at the beginning. I met some teachers in high school who were really important to me. I met teachers at community college who were really important to me. But a lot of what I did was really reading from book to book. I'd read one book, they would refer to it, it would refer to some other book, I'd read the other book. And just reading my way across, again, a canon that I was discovering and constructing as one's encounters with the canon usually are. I guess I would say, what resulted from that is the kind of poetry, for good or ill, that I write, which is a kind of poetry where I'm trying to incorporate the English tradition that I understand. So that I'm trying to bring everything from, as I said, Raleigh and Spencer were huge for me at the beginning, relatively early on, but also I really loved like Susan Howe and I really love Jory Graham. I'm trying to make a poetry that incorporates all of that. And one would think that they're fairly far away, but I think it's possible to put it all together. And I've always been trying to put all that stuff together. And I think that if I had found particular teachers who had pretty strident views, as people in the world of poetry and in all arts tend to do, they might have encouraged me to go in one direction and discouraged me from going in a different one. And so I'm very grateful that I've been able to choose them all. You know, so I would say, as discouraging as that can feel, it's also a great gift. And that means that the choice is entirely up to you. And, you know, libraries are full of books, and all you have to do is, really all you have to do, this is going to sound like I'm simplifying things, really all you have to do is grab one. You go to the poetry section and grab a book. That sounds too simple, but I'll tell you, when I was first starting to try to figure out how to read, I got this book, and it was about the image of Native Americans in the minds of Spencer, Montaigne, and Shakespeare. And when I got the book, it was a remaindered book. I got it at an outlet mall, and it just seemed interesting, you know. And I started to read it, and I thought, oh, I'm not equipped for this. I need to read Spencer and Montaigne and Shakespeare. So I read everything by Spencer and Montaigne and Shakespeare, which was huge. You know, that's those texts are so foundational in a lot of ways. But you know, that's, you know, for lack of a better term, that's providence, I suppose. That's you use a book to get you to the next book, and you don't need anybody to do that for you. I just went to an outlet mall, I just grabbed that book, it pointed to other books, I got those books, you know, and in those books point to other books, you know.
I love it.
You can do this all, you can totally do it yourself.
I love this. I love this.